things just took a shocking turn as we have a massive Lakers trade update to go over today surrounding LeBron James. And folks, not only did a trade just get that much more real according to new reports, but an interesting trade has been revealed, folks. A ton to go over today. But before we get into it all, if you're part of the percentage, you aren't subscribed to the channel, this is the place to be for daily Lakers content. Your guys' support has been unbelievable. And thank you guys again, folks, for your continued support over here. Ladies and gentlemen, a lot to go over today. And let's just dive right into it. We know, I covered in the video earlier, LeBron James has opted into his player option, and this has sparked a ton of speculation. As let's just dive right into it. There's been a new report from Shams, and not only this, a bunch of new reports, but this is a new report from Shams also detailing what Paul, obviously Rich Paul, said about LeBron's future. And yes, he opted in. However, you can see here, James, the NBA's career leading scorer, wants to compete for a championship and for next season and beyond, and will be closely monitoring the Lakers' next moves and whether the team is positioning itself to field a title contending roster. And listen to this here. LeBron wants to compete for a championship. He knows the Lakers are building for the future. He understands that, but he values a realistic chance of winning it all. We are very appreciative of the partnership that we've had for 8 years with Jeanie Buss and Rob Pelinka, and consider the Lakers as a critical part of his career. Folks are speaking in the past tense about about LeBron James, in the light of Rob Pelinka potentially trading him here. They are speaking about it in the past tense. And Shams came out and also clarified some things. And he basically said LeBron is definitely not closed the door on LA or anything like that. He obviously opted into his deal, but he has not closed the door on other teams either. And he has not closed the door on a trade. And if the Lakers do not go all in here this offseason and make a move for what's going to be a center, and multiple things, if they don't really go all in, then a trade could be on the table here, which really changes the way that we look at, this offseason. And there's been a trade that's going around, which we'll dive into in a minute and stay tuned until the end here, but it's regarding Jarrett Allen and the Cleveland Cavaliers and sending him home. But this is the most latest, info here. And the way they're speaking is in the past tense. And Shams says himself that LeBron could request a trade. I'm told LeBron wants to compete for a championship next season and is uncertain about the Lakers roster moving forward. And if we rewind a little bit, not only these reports that came out today, but we rewind to when Rob Pelinka's postseason press conference after the year about who's asked a question about LeBron James and what, obviously what his future is like and things like that. And Rob Pelinka basically came out and said, hey, we're going to need to do as much as we can to build a roster around LeBron that'll be happy with. And at the time, we kind of just gloss over that, like, of course you would. Maybe they knew all along that LeBron is going to be considering a trade here. And if you're asking why he would opt into his deal and then consider a trade, we'll dive into that as well. But you can see here now, reports have started to flow. So even though he'll be 41 years old in December, any team that's in a 1 or 2 year title window should be calling the Lakers immediately, inquiring about LeBron James. Now with Luka Doncic as the face of their franchise, LeBron James trade might be LA's best long-term play here. And things have just taken a crazy turn. Like, reports are spewing. There's the Knicks involved. There's Cleveland involved. Now, LeBron does have a no-trade clause, so he has control over his destiny in a potential trade. Far more realistic for him to get to another team by opting in, and instead of his sign and trade, below-apron teams need to send out $43.1 million and match his salary and trade bonus. And folks, just to be clear, this is why he opted in. He now can continue to he has his no-trade clause that remains intact, but B, it's a lot easier now for him to force himself to a team he wants to via his no-trade clause rather than, of course, doing it through a sign-and-trade. So this makes it a lot more sense for LeBron. If you're wondering, again, why the opt-in doesn't directly mean that he's going to stay with the Lakers, it's because it makes more sense if he wanted to get traded to do it from the perspective of opting in first, requesting after. And I don't think his first goal is going to be requesting a trade immediately. He's a very smart man. He's a basketball genius, and just a genius in general. He is going to see how this team is playing out. He's comfortable in LA. He has kids in LA. Of course, LeBron, his kids, Bronny, and Bryce as well, of course. He's going to have to see what actually happens with him, how, the rest of, he likes LA. He loves LA, right? But that doesn't necessarily change the fact that even though he likes LA, he could force himself to any place he wants. We've heard rumblings about him being in New York recently and loving it there. His wife recently came out and said that, or LeBron, I guess, said it came through him that his wife wants him to retire after a year or two more. Like, his career could be coming to an end here, and it makes things very, very interesting. And again, like I mentioned earlier, Rob Pelinka was asked about LeBron at the end of the year presser. I think LeBron's gonna have high expectations for the roster, and we're gonna do everything we can to meet those. And you look at some of the, the offseason here, and we'll dive into that here in a minute. But one more thing I want to dive into here, interesting from Trevor Lane. For years, what's best for the Lakers and what's best for LeBron have largely been aligned. Perhaps we're at the point where that is no longer the case. Buckle up. Now, Kevin O'Connor gave some very important insight. And let's dive into Jarrett Allen now of the Cleveland Cavaliers, because among all this has been reports of a trade to Cleveland, send him back home. Cleveland can have a 2-year window win a championship with, Donovan Mitchell, all these different things. It is possible. And for the Lakers, you get Jared Allen back, an unbelievable center. But I want to preface it by saying this. LeBron to the Cavs will require getting under the second apron, which would mean losing Jared Allen, Darius Garland, and a third guy, probably Max Strus. It's a lot to give up for a player who may not put you over the top and may only have a year left. Then again, Allen has folded in the playoffs and Garland is a tiny guard. Could trading them a low-key salary dump for Cleveland, a low-key salary dump for Cleveland, then whenever LeBron retires, the front office would have cap flexibility to build around Mitchell and Mobley. It's a complicated trade. A third team would have to be involved. A lot would have to go out. But if the chance is there, the Cavs should go all in on LeBron. So it would require a lot of tomfoolery, but it would make sense here. Like, if LeBron forced himself to Cleveland, his hometown, you have a chance to win a championship alongside, of course, Donovan Mitchell and Evan Mobley. For the Lakers, you get your center of the future along with your guard of the future. And I love the deal for the Lakers. It's a little bit crazy now that we're talking about a LeBron trade. It's still probably not the most likely outcomes, most likely scenario, rather, or the most likely outcome even. But it's a severely, possible outcome at this point. And the more that these reports start to flow, and even for Trevor Lane, buckle up. Like, we're going to have to buckle up here. Things are getting interesting very, very quickly. And there's going to be more and more teams that are involved, whether it be the Knicks, whether it be, a bunch of different teams, the Cavs. At the end of the day, keep in mind, LeBron has his no trade clause. He can choose where he goes. But Jared Allen would make a lot of sense. And you can see this here. If LeBron wants to opt out and is truly looking to contend, my guess would be Cleveland or New York. Just not sure how a deal will come together. Offseason for the Lakers just got that much more interesting and complicated. And of course, Jared Allen, coming off a bit of a down year, he is elite, right? He is an elite defensive center. He would be perfect with this team. And I think ultimately it would be a very interesting fit. And I think, at the end of the day here, if they decide to trade LeBron, we'll have tons of videos covering it. It might be in the best interest of the team, especially if you're looking ahead to the Luka Doncic era. But boy, oh boy, it's just a crazy conversation to be having on a day where, we're supposed to be celebrating him opting in, the team going all in. It's going to be the most critical next, 24, 48, 72 hours for this team. Tomorrow's free agency starts. We're going to keep you up to date, probably have a live stream and things like that. But boy, oh boy, things have taken a crazy turn. And to give you a bit of an outlook on everything they have right now, they have 2 tradable first-round picks. Well, really 1 tradable first-round pick in 2031 or 2032. They have 5 swaps. They have 1 second-round pick. They are, of course, not in the apron, and they have 5 incoming future first-round picks. And regarding sizable contracts, of course, Luka's not going anywhere. Dorian Finney-Smith opted out of his player option. You have some other guys there. Again, Dorian Finney-Smith is a free agent. Markieff Morris, Jackson Hayes, Alex Len. It is going to be crazy, and I'm going to be using this screenshot a lot because it really goes to show how ridiculous the Lakers, are right now regarding just decisions that had to be made. You have free agents, you have trades that had to be made. All the player options have been, confirmed here. You have, of course, Dorian Finney-Smith, which I had a video on earlier today, opting out. Things are getting crazy, and LeBron James, there's a chance he gets traded here, which is, he's a beast, but it's going to be crazy. Let me know down below what your thoughts are on this. Things are really starting to pick up. Cheers.